Congratulations, you found the Dark Wolf's Den Show, your home for unapologetic America First discussion 5 nights a week, exclusively on the Censored Freedom Network. Now please welcome your host, Jerry the Dark Wolf Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry the Dark Wolf. Thank you so much, David, and thank you everybody for being here. We had to let Roger go. He said he got tired of saying the same thing over and over, so we had to let him go, and we brought David in here. So what do you guys think? I think he did a good job reading it. Maybe we'll keep him on full time, ladies and gentlemen. But this is the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Glad to have everybody here tonight. We have a lot, and I mean a lot, to get into. Before we get started, for all three of you that actually watched the show, hey, glad you're here tonight. We're going to be rebranding just a little bit, folks. Apparently, political and paranormal is just a step too far for a lot of people. It's a little confusing, I guess. It's kind of what I was going with was, who else does political and paranormal together? But we are going to separate them. The Dark Wolf's Den Show has been and always will be paranormal, so we're going to leave that as it is. And then we'll be doing a new show with political discussion. We are working on some stuff in the background right now. We haven't got it nailed down just yet. We'll let you guys know in the next couple days when the new show pilots, I guess you'd say, what the name and everything is going to be, the new tagline, the new branding, the whole new 9 yards. Very exciting, very exciting. We're going to have 3 shows on the network now if we go this route. So growing, definitely for sure. Speaking of growing, ladies and gentlemen, we have never tried to sell you a darn thing here except the truth. So the only thing that I would ask is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Let everybody know we're here. Just try to help us grow the wolf pack, ladies and gentlemen. Grow this channel back up to where we should be. That's really all I ask. Just share this out with all your patriot friends, all your American First friends, all your lefty friends. Share this out around. Let everybody know that we exist, folks. I'd really, really appreciate that. That's all we ask. It's absolutely free. I'm not even trying to sell you anything. This episode is brought to you by the Dark Wolf's Den. We have no sponsors. We have nothing like that. We're not trying to do anything like that. I've never made a penny off this in 5 years, folks. So please just go ahead and share us out. That's all we ask. And we've got a lot of information tonight, folks, and we got a lot to get into, and that's what we're going to do right now. So I went looking today because I wanted to talk about the USAID story, and I thought this would be a really, really simple story to talk about, no issues. However, when I went looking for the pork list, if you will, of all the different projects that we've been funding that we have no business funding, ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't find it. That's right, I could not find it. Why could I not find it? Well, I will gladly show you why I could not find it. Because for most of the day, this website right here has been completely and utterly offline. It didn't even give me a 404. It would give that gray page when it couldn't even reach the servers, right? This is the USAID website, by the way. The resources you are trying to access is temporarily unavailable. If we go straight to the direct USAID site, it finally came up today, ladies and gentlemen. And when it did, it had a message that on Friday, February 7th, 2005, all USAID direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally, with the exception of designated personnel responsible to mission-critical functions, core leadership, and specially designated programs. So the State Department has shut down the USAID temporarily, the website and everything, until they can get things back under control. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is what needed to happen. They needed to go in and shut down this money laundering operation that has been going on for so long using the American tax dollar and the American programs like USAID and different government programs to do it. Now, I know that might seem like I'm speaking hyperbolically, right? So let me give you a list. I finally found the list I was looking for, by the way, folks, of all the different funding things, and we're going to go through that list first thing. We've got a lot of other stories to go through tonight, so this might be a bit of a long show. We'll have to see. But folks, we have quite a few things on here. So we've got hundreds of millions of dollars that were sent to the West Bank and Gaza. We've got a story about that coming up that's just mind-blowing, breaking news there, which ended up supporting Hamas, according to some reports. So as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and jump this real quick. We'll come back to the list. Ladies and gentlemen, Trump met with Netanyahu earlier today. And after the meeting, he come out to the podium and announced that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip. I'm going to repeat that. The U.S. is going to take over the Gaza Strip. So I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it will be little America, I guess, but I don't like it. I don't. I think we need to stay within our own borders. I don't think we need to be expanding and being colonial and whatever the case may be. But when Grok was asked what Trump's Gaza Strip would look like in the end, ladies and gentlemen, here's what he had, or I say Grok had to show us. According to Grok, this will be the Gaza Strip when Trump's done with it at the end of this 4 years. Hopefully, that's what we'll see. That looks about like Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to see every city in America lit up bright like that. Huge buildings, big lights, the whole nine. Show off how amazing this country is. Again, I don't know how I feel about them doing all this with Israel or the West Bank in that area, because, again, that's just not America. What other money was going out the door, ladies and gentlemen, to people that didn't need to be funded by the government? I want to be very, very clear going forward. What I'm reading off here is a list of things that the government was spending money on that they had no business spending money on. We've got $7.1 million for LGBTQI plus and feminism programs in Ecuador, which included funding for a sex-positive art festival. Yeah, I know, it makes my brain hurt too. Not only is this things that the government doesn't have any business pushing or promoting, the LGBTQI feminism movement that should be organic and from the ground and the people, not promoted by the government, in my opinion, but especially not promoted in another country. We're paying another country to do that. $7.1 million. That sounds a little fishy, and that's only the first line, right? Second line. $2.6 million for a program to promote tourism in Egypt amidst concerns about effectiveness and necessity of such spending. $2.6 million to promote tourism in Egypt. How about promoting tourism in America? That would have done great for American possibilities and American marketing and American. There's a word I'm looking for and I can't find it. But it would have done great within our borders. American tourism, right? American travel, not Egyptian tourism. $2.6 million. Next, millions on gender sensitivity training in various countries, with critiques focusing on whether or not these programs effectively address core development issues. Gender sensitivity training. Millions in various countries. So here's my biggest issue. In various countries. None of this money should have been going out of this country. Okay, if it's aid, this is what they're aiding. This isn't aid. This isn't a natural disaster. This isn't a problem. This is, if anything, this is aiding and trying to run coups within their country and weaken the other countries. Remember, it's supposed to be aid. $10 million for an Afghan version of Sesame Street, focusing on gender equality. Folks, Afghanistan, the war-torn country that is Afghanistan, we spent $10 million to focus on gender equality. Folks, I don't think they cared in Afghanistan about equality of gender. They got a whole different understanding and belief system when it comes to that. So we were spending $10 million to propagandize Afghanistan. That's awesome. I think we could have spent that to, I don't know, maybe rebuild Afghanistan, not propagandize them, if we're going to be aiding them in any way. I don't even agree with that. Let's be clear, none of the money should have went out, but if they're going to have this program, at least send it out for something that's worthwhile. $1.9 million to create a Cuban Twitter. Okay, I'm going to reread that because it is just that mind-boggling. $1.9 million to create a Cuban Twitter aimed at undermining the Cuban government. Yeah, that's for real. Funding to the Global Fund, where some of the money was allegedly misused or went to corrupt practices. Global anything we should have nothing to do with. We should be America first all the way. There's no global fund that we need to have no part of because we're going to end up spending or paying 3/4 of the money into this global fund like we've done in every other global situation, UN, NATO, WHO, you name it. We have been the main ones funding these programs. Thank God Trump pulled out of all of those. $2.8 million for gender and inclusion programs in Bangladesh, including support for gender transformative approaches. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm yet to hear a real emergency anywhere in this list. Let's keep going. $1.8 million to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in Guyana, which include workshops on gender and sexuality. I wonder if they're trying to teach them that there are 973 genders. Just curious. Funding for LGBTQI plus sensitivity training for public officials in Nepal. Folks, again, whether or not you agree with the LGBT community, that's an aside. Why is all of this money going out of this country for useless reasons? Right? $140,000 for a queer film festival in Macedonia. I'm not saying don't support this particular group. I'm saying, why are we supporting this group in Macedonia, in Guyana, in Bangladesh, in Afghanistan, in all these other countries? If you want to support them, I'm not going to put my 2 cents on that. But if you want to support them in this country. Put the money back in this country. Why are we doing this at every other country around the globe? $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. Yeah, you heard that right. $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia. You know what? We should have had a running total here to the best of our ability. Some just says millions, right? But let's see if we can't get a semi-running total on just the information that we have here at hand, that we know has went out of this country. And this is the kind of stuff they pack into these bills that they don't want you to read, that are 300 to 500 pages long, that have one important thing that they know is going to pass. So they'll tack all this garbage onto it, because if the main bill passes, this passes too, and you just agreed to something you had no idea that you agreed to as an American citizen. Oh yeah, you supported that bill that was good for the people. They also did all of this stuff across the other countries. Yeah, that's the way it works. That's why we have got to pay attention. Okay, 100,000. Okay, 7.1 million plus 2.6 million. You know what? We'll have to do that another time. We'll do that another time. This is an insane amount of money. If you guys are keeping up, so we got 7.1, 2.6, 10 million, 1.9 million, 2.8 million, 1.8 million, 140,000, 32,000, 47,000, and that's up to the transgender opera in Colombia, the last one we read. Next one is 2.5 million for DEI programs in Serbia. So we've got Nepal, Macedonia, Serbia, Guyana, Afghanistan. The list goes on and on and on. When I say I'm America first, I believe the money should be spent in America first, not in all these other countries for things that have no business being spent on. I'm all for spending money in an emergency. If there's an earthquake in another country, can we help? Awesome. If there's a hurricane, I was going to say a sandstorm, those you don't really hear about, but a natural disaster of any type, if we can help, cool. That's where the money should go out as U.S. aid. Right? If we have to rebuild a country because we bombed it into the ground as per treaties, cool. I get that. Those are necessary spending ventures. I haven't seen a single thing on these lists yet that has made a lick of sense to be spending money on. An indigenous language technology program in Guatemala. Okay. Indigenous language technology program in Guatemala. I actually got excited when I read the first part of that. Oh, finally something for... Oh, no, that's not for America. Support for LGBT activism in Guatemala, including funding for sex changes. Yeah, folks. This is where your taxpayer money that they're stealing from your pocket is going. I keep saying it. We sent the politicians to Washington, and for a while we just assumed that they were doing what they were supposed to do. And maybe they were. They just weren't doing what they were supposed to do for us. We took our eye off the ball, and this is what has happened. These are the things that President Trump is getting rid of. These are the things that the left is losing their mind about. This is what they're screaming about, that all the funding's being cut from. This is what they're so worried about saving, ladies and gentlemen. This is where they want more of your tax money to go, is anywhere but within the borders of the United States of America. Now, you want to talk about America first? They are absolutely America last. You've got 4 years of evidence thus far, that should prove to you without the shadow of a doubt. I'd even say 8 years. 12 out of 12 years, Trump had 4. So, Obama and Biden. We talked about Obama last night and how he did his best to bankrupt this country and tell everybody you're just going to have to live worse and learn to like it. Yeah, he really said that, folks. And then Biden could give 2 craps less as long as there was no money going to the American people and everything going out the door. That man did everything he could to destroy this country systematically. This is what the left wants to save, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the left wants to do with your money and has been doing with your taxpayer money. Did you approve any of this? I didn't. How about approving $70,000 for the production of a DEI musical in Ireland? Ireland. Why are we sending money for DEI anything to Ireland? Please, can somebody explain that to me? Please make that make sense. $1.5 million to advance DEI and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces. Serbia, ladies and gentlemen. I've not seen a single thing on this list yet that has been for America. funding for a nonprofit linked to designated terrorist organizations, even after investigation by inspector generals. Are you mad yet? Is your blood boiling? It should be. Mine is. You should be pissed off that this is what our government thinks of us. This is what our government would rather waste money on and then tell you that, oh, there's been an emergency, there's been something to happen in your state, we can give you a couple $100. Sorry. But they can give $70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland or $105 million to Serbia. Right? But they can't give the American people anything more than $700 and say, tough luck, have a good day. They can give any immigrant that walks in this country, at least the left were, thank God for Trump, was giving them the bank and the house and the car and everything that they could get their hands on. And the American people have to suffer. Why? Because the left hates you. They hate you. They could not have made that more clear to you. They hate you. They spent millions to EcoHealth Alliance, which was involved in research at the Wuhan lab. We all know what came out of that. I don't even have to go any further than that. The USAID, as we discussed last night, funded that. That was probably the most American thing on this list, really. It come back to bite us, didn't it? At least that's what they want us to think, if you believe the narrative. I've got major issues with that narrative, as we all know. Hundreds of thousands of meals that went to Al-Qaeda fighters in Syria. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe you don't know, Al-Qaeda fighters in Syria were our enemies. Ladies and gentlemen, they were our enemies. We were funding the feeding of our enemies. Again, does this piss you off? It should. We were funding personalized contraceptives in developing countries. Okay, you know what? That is one of the few things that I actually agree with. Not birth control in general, but if it's developing countries that can't afford to have a high population, fine. Why can't we get that common sense stuff back here in America, though? We have no problem funding it out there. $335 million on diesel-fueled power plant that just sat empty. I don't know what disturbs me about this line more, because there's so much. $335 million out the door, that bothers me. A diesel-fueled power plant. That bothers me a little bit more, I think, than the amount of money that it was. But even worse, this money into this power plant that did nothing. Just sat there unused. We just wanted to build a power plant and have something to do. We got bored. $335 million of your tax dollars, my tax dollars, went to this garbage. Did you agree to that? I didn't. Maybe it was on one of the bills that you thought was a great idea for the country. That they tried to sell to you was going to help you out. Folks, how many times have they tried to sell this to you on the news that this bill will make your life better? It's going to be so much better for you. If you just agree to this, if not, it's going to be the end of the world. And inside all these bills that they're fighting so hard for is all this pork that they're sending to other countries that you never would agree to if you actually knew was in the bill. $20 million for an Iraqi Sesame Street. Folks, do you think Iraq gives a about Sesame Street? Do you really think so? Do you think that's their biggest priority in Iraq is Sesame Street? Propaganda machines? And even so, why are we funding it? Is that an emergency? At what point did they have an emergency to the point that they needed Sesame Street? Can somebody please explain how that goes in the same sentence? Emergency, Iraq, and Sesame Street. It shouldn't. We ain't even got to the rest of the stories. This might be the whole damn show. $2 million for pottery classes in Morocco. Folks, how about $2 million for pottery classes in this country? Why is USAID giving pottery classes? It's aid. What are they aiding? Maybe I'm the ignorant one. But I thought aid was supposed to go, I don't know, to help people that needed help. I don't think pottery classes need that much help. I don't think Sesame Street is any kind of emergency that was needed in Iraq or Morocco. Or where else was Sesame Street? Afghanistan, right? Propaganda much? $27 million to give gift bags to immigrants before they were released into the United States. Yeah, you heard that one right. I'm going to repeat that because I don't think you understand just how goofy that was. $27 million to give gift bags to immigrants. Immigrants, illegal people, as they come into this country. Name one other country in this world where you as an American citizen, as a regular tax-paying, blue-blooded American citizen, can walk in the door illegally and get handed gift bags. I don't know of one. Not one. Sneak into Great Britain and see what they do. Sneak into Russia and see what the hell they do. Go to Iraq and sneak in there. See how they handle that. We're the only country in the world that's not going to harm or put you in jail. And if you ain't careful anymore in this country, you might end up in a jail somewhere in South America. We got a story coming up on that too if we make it that far. We're almost done with this list, folks. Hundreds of millions of dollars to fund irrigation for the Taliban's poppy fields in Afghanistan. Okay, so we all know why this was funded. We all know where the poppy went or came back to. This is probably the other only thing on the list that actually supported America to any degree, not in a good way. It brought drugs into this country that didn't need to be here. But at least something came back to this country. Out of all this money spent, at least we got something. Something that was here to harm us, but at least it's something. $2 million promoting tourism in Lebanon. So we're spending all kind of money to promote tourism in Egypt and Lebanon. Ladies and gentlemen, those are, well, at least Lebanon is a place that I don't ever plan on finding myself. And I don't understand how that was an emergency that we needed to promote tourism in Lebanon using USAID. When you guys can make any of these make sense to me, please, I would love to hear it. Now, Egypt, I would actually visit. I kind of want to visit Egypt. I want to go to the Great Pyramid. I want to see the Sphinx. I want to visit Egypt. That is the one place I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, all right. Overseas, I wouldn't mind. One of the two places I'd go to Great Britain to. $9 million intended to feed Syrians, which ended up in the hands of ISIS. Again, our enemies. $9 million. Think of how much this country could have got done with all of this money that has went out. We went through at least a couple $billion altogether. I'm sure of it. There's no way we haven't reached $1 billion. You guys with the calculators, by all means, if you've been listening, if you need to go back and listen and add up piece by piece, I'd like to know, how much did this all add up to? Because that's all your taxpayer money. I cannot emphasize this enough. You paid for all of this. You didn't ask for it. You didn't want it. But this is what they decided was so important in the U.S. aid office. This is what the left is losing their mind about. Losing their minds about. Oh, Elon Musk isn't a part of the government. He isn't a branch of the government. He don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I think he knows exactly what he's doing, ladies and gentlemen. He's exposing stuff like this. Stuff that the American people would not be aware of. We're assuming the U.S. aid is aiding countries with disasters, not with propaganda. This has been nothing more than a great big propaganda arm of the American government. Yeah. I mean, can you make any sense of it besides that? I can't. This should piss you off to no end that this is how much your government has thought of you. This is what they want to do every time they get in office, the Democrats. This is what they're mad about at Trump for cutting. This is what they're mad at Elon Musk for getting rid of. This is the lobbying and the gross negligence that has been going on in our Congress for so long. And I'm not even sure it's gross negligence. I think it's purposeful negligence. Again, they don't serve you. Our representatives don't serve us. We don't pay them enough. They serve their Chinese masters, their corporate masters like Big Pharma, Big Tobacco, Big Oil, Big this, Big that, Big everything. Anybody with more money than you do. How do we fix that? How do we fix it? Well, first off, we put them on minimum wage. And then when they start making millions somehow, we investigate. We make lobbying illegal. We make bribery even higher crime. Right? That would change a lot. How about we start sending aid to countries that actually need aid, not over there for Sesame Street and LGBTQI, XY, LMDV, whatever, in any other country. Again, if you want to support that here, I don't think the government needs to be supporting it anyway. If you want us to be done through grants, fine, but not U.S. aid. Right? Folks, this should piss you off. This should get your blood boiling. This has been mostly the left. Yeah, the right has had a hand in it too. I don't want to pretend that one side's great and the other side is horrid. There are worthy people, good people on both sides. To put it like Trump put it, there are good people on both sides. I mean, the left are terrorists, generally speaking, but there are good people here and there on both sides. Next story of the night, folks. We've only got a couple more. We'll close it out. I know we've gone kind of long tonight. Secretary of State Marco Rubio strikes the most extraordinary migrant agreement anywhere in the world with El Salvador. So, not only is El Salvador going to take back their criminals and put them in the jails, including the Trinidad Aguas, including the MS-13s, including all of them that have been in this country illegal. If you entered this country illegal from El Salvador, you're going back and you're going right to the jail. If you came in this country and you broke laws, you're going back and you're going to the jail. If you live in this country as a citizen and you go to jail, you're going to El Salvador to go to jail. I wish I was making that up, ladies and gentlemen. That is part of this agreement. They have offered for a small fee from the U.S. to expand their super prisons to include Americans to help with the overpopulation of American prisons. How kind of them. I don't like this even one little bit. Not at all. I don't think the prison system should be a for-profit system. Absolutely should not be a for-profit system, because for-profit policing is not policing. It is theft and robbery. If you're going to get paid by the amount of people you have in prison, you're going to find a way to put more people in prison. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? So, I love everything about this agreement until the point of Americans can be held in El Salvador prisons. I'm not sure the legalities on that. I don't think that's a good idea. Speaking of things that aren't good ideas, ladies and gentlemen, AOC, which is a walking bad idea in and of itself. But this moron of a human being, this sorry excuse for a representative, this buzzard-brained, little IQ'd individual who has said some of the stupidest stuff I've ever heard out of someone's mouth. Can you tell I'm not a fan of AOC? Do you know why AOC, ladies and gentlemen, side note, do you know why AOC actually got elected? This is why voting is important. 15% of her district is all that turned out, and they happened to vote for her. She don't belong in Congress, ladies and gentlemen, but according to her, Elon Musk don't belong in the government either.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
Unintelligent. The man that has found a way to bring rockets back to the planet and land them and catch them with chopsticks, basically. The man who has figured out brain chip implants, I don't agree with him, like him or not, the man has done it. The man who has come out with electric cars is unintelligent, according to AOC. This woman has got the intelligence of a bloody bird. And that's saying a lot, in my opinion, because a matter of fact, I think is less intelligence than that. I think she might have the intelligence of a rock. Says Elon Musk is unintelligent. Let that one sink in.
Which, you can probably even glean that from watching these people on TV.
Like you?
Anyways, all of that is to say is that they don't do their homework. Clearly, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart. And the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise that Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also...
I think she means his mother, not him. His mother is extremely morally vacant and a part of the Satanist church. Oh, that's right. She's part of that church too. My bad.
Just least knowledgeable about these systems that we really know of. But the point is that what that means is that they're going to hit a button inevitably. They are going to hit a button and things can go sideways.
Things can go sideways. For who? You? Folks, remember when Biden, back in the beginning, maybe you do, maybe you don't, was talking to Zelensky, and he was talking to him about money and getting a loan and telling him, hopefully Trump won't get sophisticated enough to understand what's going on, to really understand things. AOC is scared to death, ladies and gentlemen, that her and her many cohorts are going to lose a lot of money, and their masters are not happy. Again, they don't work for us. They're supposed to. But I can guarantee you this woman here is not working for her district or her people. She's working for the highest paying bidder. Usually that's China, not always. You have Iran and Iraq who also put bids in quite a bit. Speaking of Iran, President Trump has revealed that he left explicit instructions for his advisors. If Iran assassinates him, or any country assassinates him, the instructions following are to bomb them out of existence and turn their country into a piece of glass. And I think that's a great idea. This is what Biden should have done. This shows strength. Even if you think he's bluffing, do you really want to take that chance? What did Biden say and Kamala say when it come to the Ukraine war? Do you remember? I do. Here, real quick. Do you remember what they said? They said, don't do that. What? Don't do that. That's not strength, ladies and gentlemen. This right here. If you kill me, your country will disappear. That's strength. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we should be doing all the time. This is the president I want.
Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That'd be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why. Lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it.
Biden, by the way, has signed a deal with a talent agency, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of signing deals, last but not least, we have one more story here. Sorry, I got a little something caught in the throat there. Rep Marjorie Taylor Greene, to introduce bills to abolish USAID. I like that. And make English the official language of the United States. I think this is way overdue. We need an official language. Every other country has an official language. What's the official language of Spain? Yeah, Spanish, that's right. What's the official language of Mexico? That's right, Spanish, you're correct. What's the official language of Russia? Russian, that's correct. What's the official language of the United States? Crickets, that's correct. That's correct. There is no official language yet of the United States of America. But there will be soon when this bill goes through the United States Congress, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, that's been a lot tonight, folks. That's been a lot. We have let things get way out of control in this country. And it's time that the adults step in and clean house. You know what's really interesting? I don't necessarily follow or unfollow, believe or unbelieve certain things that I hear. I just put them in the file 13 and I see if they turn out later to be any kind of truth. Many of you guys may remember the 17 Truth Board. If you know, you know. I didn't exactly always agree with the 17 Truth Board, but I do remember one post talking about cleaning house. A number of posts, as a matter of fact, talking about cleaning house. And I see before me Mr. Trump cleaning house. What do you guys think? Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Shout out to everybody over on TikTok, over on BitChute, over on Rumble. Guys, please, I just need your help growing this channel. If you enjoy the content, let everybody know. That would really mean a lot to us, folks. With that said, until tomorrow night, my name's Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. Look out for our new show coming very, very soon. We're going to separate this into two different shows. This politics is definitely not needing to be mixed with the paranormal, I guess, because we went through a lot tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, look out for that. With that said, until tomorrow, my name's Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And remember, until next we meet, stay awake, but dare to dream. Good night, everybody. Oh, yeah. That's right.